Welcome back to the Let's Play of Alpha Centauri. And I am, of course, Twee Honda. That's right, Twee Honda, your Doskoi soft boy. We are back in action here. We're going to jump right back into it and start taking out these believer bases. We have a unit from the Hive over here, so I expect to be hearing from Yong pretty soon. And then we're going to have to figure out whether he's going to be a jerk right away or just a jerk later on. But in the meantime, let's get back to making rovers and send them right on over.
Production complete.
Marine back online. Brother Loudly Humane, it is ever a pleasure to match wits with you. I am Sister Miriam of the Believers. Am at your service. Your information on doctrine flexibility intrigues me. Are you willing to exchange it for my world map? No more than I could or was willing to last time. No.
Turn complete.
And that just ends the conversation. Good. Let's start the revolution here, baby. Do you wish to pronounce vendetta upon Sister Miriam of the Believers? Yes. Get a little thing for our first battle won. Looks like shit. Now we found ourselves a monolith, which means we can upgrade all of our units' experience level, and also after that can heal ourselves, as mentioned in the last video. We also see that Lord's Truth here is unprotected, which I like to see, although it's only one population, so if I take it out right now, I'll literally take it out. It'll be destroyed. If I wait till there's an extra population in there, I can take it and make it my own base, which bears consideration.
Turn complete.
In this game, if you want to change production midstream, there is a retooling penalty, and in this case, the penalty is going to cost me 4 minerals to switch over from a colony pod to recycling tanks. That's fine. And my damage unit becomes a repaired unit.
Turn complete. Production complete. Perhaps a careful review of your options is in order.
This is telling me that I should be very careful about attacking because sometimes with these units, if you move too far, you can't attack at full strength. Since I moved as far as I did, I'll only get 2/3 strength. Luckily, what I'm trying to beat up on is this nerd right here that has no defensive capabilities that I'm aware of. So I should be able to pummel the crap out of it.
Perhaps a careful review of your options is in order.
213 to 56 are the odds. I like them.
Combat report. Turn complete. Turn complete. Turn complete. Terraform complete. Terraform complete.
As you can see here on this tile, I just got done building a solar collector on top of my farm, which now gives me an extra energy per turn. As opposed to this tile that doesn't have a solar collector, so I only have 1 energy per turn. Otherwise, yields are the same. Click on the center base here. It'll pick your supposedly your best tiles. Whatever. Boring. Okay, we seized New Jerusalem. 11 energy credits diverted from local nets is our bounty, our reward. Get another one of these. Well, I guess that wasn't as much fanfare as I was kind of suggesting. We just took New Jerusalem, we got some energy credits for it, and then we got that crappy little placard screen there.
Turn complete.
What we saw there, by the way, was these forests will expand on their own, which is nice. So you plant one and you kind of let them take over the crappier tiles in your base so you can use them and make them more useful later on. We now have Chairman Young on the line, as predicted earlier. He is solicitous. The Humane Brother Lao, first among Peacekeepers. I lead the Hive and am honored to be its chairman, Young. We intend to found a society on the principles of security and control. By the way, the voice acting in this game is great, and I am not going to do the thing where you try to imitate the voice acting because it's 2020. Have you heard from Miriam recently? I have not been able to locate her or her believing faction since the time of Planetfall, and wanted to continue some of our earlier conversations. If you have her comm frequency, I could offer 20 credits for your trouble. I'll take your 20 credits because she's about to be completely out of the picture. Brother Lal, I know... Ooh, now he's submissive. Brother Lal, I know I have been accused of preaching brutal nihilism, but I think you will find that I'm a man of reason. Let us exchange knowledge on a quid pro quo basis. I shall share my files on doctrine loyalty. You must in return fully disclose your data on Centauri ecology. He wants a basic exploration tech for the second level Conquer tech, which I'm gonna do. That is satisfactory.
Therefore, a wise prince will seek means by which his subjects will always, and in every possible condition of things, have need of his government, and then they will always be faithful to him. Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince, Data Links.
Machiavelli, man. Really makes you think, huh? It's fucked up. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. More of this, the classical works of humanity, which provide, again, grounding for this fantastical future that we're in. Flavor text says, Doctrine Mobility proved a sound dogma for the early years on planet. By the way, I like how these texts reference the older text that you already got. It kind of builds slowly the story on how we get to these, huge future texts, especially later on in the game when you're getting into really speculative stuff. Doctrine Mobility proved a sound dogma for the early years on planet. However, as the struggle for survival against native mindworms and rival factions intensifies, many younger officers repudiate the old guard's emphasis on mobility as the dominant military policy. Based also on the revelations of social psych, the new Doctrine Loyalty stresses extensive training, defensive facilities, and zealous dedication to faction leaders as the foundation for survival and success in combat. Doctrine Loyalty emphasizes a two-way fealty. Soldiers are expected to lay down their lives without question, but in return, they receive respect, power, and positions of authority in the new social hierarchy. Your information on Doctrine Flexibility intrigues me. Are you willing to exchange it for a copy of my world map? Get fucked. No. Your faction is indeed a mighty one, Brother Lau, but my forces are yet strong, and I shall not allow you to plunder the wealth of this planet without cutting me in for a share. My price is your data on social psych. That is a nothing tech, but Yang is going to be a big pain in the ass, and I want to keep him in this submissive range for as long as possible. His might is pathetic, mine is unsurpassed. That's going to change as soon as he gets like lasers or whatever low-level tech, and then he's going to start pumping out units, cheap-ass units, with his ability to pump things out very, very quickly with his production boost. So I don't want to help him at all. I'm going to try to grind him into dust as soon as possible. Brother Lyle, your ideals are admirable if a bit misguided, and your faction need not pose a threat to hive policy. Shall we sign a treaty of friendship to formalize our symbiotic relationship? Normally I'd be inclined to do this if he was further away, but I suspect he's pretty close by the fact that this little dude's here. And if I sign a treaty of friendship, I will break it if I try to forward settle him, which I intend to do. No, your social experiments are a bit too bizarre for me, Yang. Have you any further business? We do not. I believe we're finished here. Lol out.
Production complete.
Believes are back online. Hello again, Brother Lyle. Your loyal followers remain a force to be reckoned with. Greetings from her. She's obstinate. Fighting between the two of us only allows the others to grow stronger. We should pledge blood truce before we destroy one another. AKA, I'm losing. It is you who will be destroyed, Sister Miriam. I surrender, mighty Lal. For my defeat is abject and total. If you will but have mercy upon me, I shall give you all of my energy credits, a whopping 23, and share all of my research data, a whopping 0. I shall never trouble you again. This is a time where we can turn her into a vassal. You can do that as you're about ready to eradicate a faction. It can prove useful depending on the faction. In her particular case, she sucks at research. Her entire advantage lies in cranking out large numbers of crappy units that have the religious fervor advantage of the increase to win battles by being on the initiative. And it's really hard for her to crank out a lot of units if you push her to a very small geographic portion of the map and keep her contained, which is what you would want to do with a vassal, which means she is completely useless. And so I will destroy her. Destroying you will be a service to humanity. So be it. Vendetta upon you, Lal. You and your whining minions shall be obliterated to the last man.
Turn complete.
Not very likely. I wish this base would grow. Getting close to the point where it might take it out, pump out a quick colony, send it up there. Especially, can I get both this and this? No. Anyway, it's decent positioning. I just don't want to wait. I want it now.
Terraform complete.
Now it's turned to 2 population. Thank you. Peacekeeper seized the Lord's Truth. 8 energy credits diverted from the local nets. Well. Trying to sneak around in a colony pod, are we? Greetings, Brother Lal, and beware. Though you are bent on setting yourself up as the only legitimate authority on planet, you and your whining followers cannot stand before the wrath of Sister Miriam of the Believers. Yes, the wrath of you and your little nerd settler up here, and then whatever dorks you have in that base over there. Nothing personal, my dear Lal, but planet simply isn't big enough for the two of us. I shall ruthlessly crush your faction, of course, and shall derive great pleasure from having you executed.
Turn complete. Turn complete. Production complete.
Thankfully, you only get to quote the one time that you build the base facility. You don't get it every single time you do it afterward.
Production complete. Turn complete. Production complete.
Here's a good illustration of what forces supported means here. So this base is cranking out pretty good minerals. 11 base here, as you can see here, because I have this big mineral production from the bonus resource on this tile. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 makes up my total minerals there. Here's the thing. If you crank out a bunch of units, you get 2 for free. That's these 2 guys here. And everyone after that costs you a mineral that you can't put toward production for other things in your base. So now this base alone is pretty much providing the mineral resources for my entire army. That changes as the game goes on, but we ain't there yet. So it's a way to keep the spamming down pretty early on.
Terraform complete. Turn complete. Terraform complete.
Mine worms are back to make my life shit.
Turn complete. Turn complete. Request confirmation.
Okay, we had a mineworm attack a base, and now we have our first interlude from the Book of Planet, the year 2150. Walking alone through the corridors of UN headquarters, you skim security reports on recent attacks by the horrific native mindworms. Giant swarms, or boils, of these mottled 10-centimeter nightmares have wriggled out of the fungal beds of late, and now threaten to overwhelm base perimeters in several sectors. Victims are paralyzed with psi-induced terror, and then experience an unimaginably excruciating death as the worms burrow into the brain to implant their ravenous larvae. Only the most disciplined security squads can overcome their fear long enough to trigger the flame guns which can keep the worms at bay. Clearly, you will have to tend carefully to the morale of the troops. Furthermore, since terror and surprise increase human casualties dramatically in these encounters, it will be important to strike first when mindworm boils are detected. You consider ordering some former detachments to construct sensors near vulnerable bases to aid in such detection efforts.
Production complete.
2 cool things about that. Diegetically, the game told you, just by giving you some flavor text and giving you some story background, that you should maintain the morale of the troops, because troops of higher experience are going to do better against the worm units. And then also told you to be attack-minded. Try to eradicate them before they get to you, which doesn't spell out the game's inborn dynamic where you get the design that you get a bonus to attacking versus a bonus to defending, but it tells you instead through the text.
At atrociously high energy states, the properties of matter change subtly, and new miracles become possible. The plasma accretion process is now dangerous and difficult to control, but its products will soon become commonplace in our society. Sister Miriam Godwinson, The Lord Works.
Okay, we have researched high energy chemistry. It now allows us to have yet another bump up in terms of the armor that we can outfit our units with. We now have plasma steel armor. And the flavor text says, breakthroughs in applied physics and industrial base lead to an understanding of high energy chemistry. This discipline seeks to understand the properties and behavior of matter at very high temperatures and results in new types of materials that remain in a stable plasma state even when superheated by intense laser stimulation.
Production complete. Turn complete. Enemy project initiated.
Alright, so Harov has authorized a secret project codenamed the Virtual World. That is a very good project for him, especially to get because he has trouble keeping his citizens in his bases happy. So if he completes that, that'll be a huge boon to him. Here we have our faction dominance bar graph, and you can see that we're doing pretty damn good, but the University and the Gaians are nipping at our heels. Not doing so hot are the Hive and blissfully the Believers.
Turn complete. Terraform complete. Turn complete. Turn complete. Production complete.
What the shit? What the shit is this? We got two out of nowhere. Just, oh boy. Alright, well this base is about to get ransacked. So lots of people are going to die and we're going to lose the recycling tanks there, but at least it won't collapse altogether, I think. Then we got this guy over here, of course. Ugh.
Terraform complete.
Okay, and the moment of truth. This should be the last Believer outpost. Let's see what happens. Peacekeeper sees the Lord's gift. 13 energy credits diverted from local nets.
Faction eradicated.
Yeah. Alright, so this is what happens when you try to eradicate a faction. You have a chance to eradicate them completely, or else you can eradicate the Believers and then the leader and her henchmen will escape in a colony pod. She'll respawn somewhere else on the map, and she'll have a gigantic disadvantage by having to start all over again this far into the game, but it does provide an opportunity for her to have like a Hail Mary to get back into it, which is kind of cool, all things considered. Ooh, and we've tracked the colony to this location on the map.
Turn complete.
And now we're going to watch these worms just waltz on in. Alright, yeah, so now we don't have recycling tanks anymore, and population got reduced only by 1, though, so I guess it could be worse.
Turn complete. Production complete. Turn complete.
Gah. Just barely.
Terraform complete. Turn complete.
Since we got these damn worms up in our business, I can upgrade these units from their basic scout patrol to the laser squad that we've built. Once you built a prototype, you can upgrade your older, crappier units to that prototype that you built, and it will cost 50 energy out of the 295 I got. Worth its weight in gold.
Turn complete.
This better work.
Production complete.
Ugh.
Terraform complete. Turn complete. Indigenous life forms.
Duolingo! Fucking come on, man.
Production complete. Terraform complete. Request confirmation. Turn complete. Production complete.
You filthy little bastards. You smell my unprotected base. Well, guess what? You're about to encounter a laser guy that you can probably kick the shit out of.
Terraform complete. Turn complete.
Oh, shit. Damn you.
Enemy project initiated.
Alright, we're looking to expand, and we can tell by this blue checked border meeting our white checked border, and also this hard red line here, that we have a little neighbor to our left, and it's going to be Yang. So taking this spot right here, or right here actually, would be best. It will prevent him from taking it, number one, but it'll also give us this nutrient resource and this nutrient resource, and it'll piss him off, which is fun.
Turn complete. Production complete. Terraform complete. Turn complete.
Right now we're hyper-producing formers because the big thing we want to do is get rid of all this awful goddamn fungus. Later in the game, having fungus isn't the worst thing in the world. In the early game, it ain't good because these assholes keep popping up from it and making my life hell, and I can't use my nutrient resource if that stupid mine worm is hanging out on it, and my life sucks.
Terraform complete. Please don't go. The drones need you. They look up to you.
Fun thing the game says when you try to leave, which I tried to do by accident.
Turn complete.
Finally, some goddamn good luck.
Production complete.
Yang just hanging out in my territory. He is now solicitous again. His might is feeble. My might is still unsurpassed. Hello, Brother Lal. Your followers remain a force. I believe your data on high energy chemistry could have important implications for my social experiments. I propose that you exchange this knowledge for my own files on nonlinear mathematics. Interested? Not really. I don't really want to trade text with him if he's on the same area as me, again, because he can start pumping out units. As soon as he gets a prototype done, he'll be just pumping out units like crazy, and then I have to deal with him being an asshole. So I'm going to say, no, I'm not interested. I must caution you, my engineers have completed an advanced impact infantry prototype. 4 attack, 2 defense, 1 movement. The first units are entering service now, rendering my forces practically invincible. It isn't good that he has that, because I don't believe I do, and that means he has a slight tech advantage on me. My offensive capabilities are maxed out at 2. He's got 4, and I really hope I get another combat tech soon. An emergency has arisen at one of my bases, Brother Lau. Lives are at stake, and information on doctrine flexibility is required immediately. Can you help? Well, I know you're full of shit, Yang, because you don't care about human life, but apart from that, this is always a nice little fun ruse. In exchange for your own data on nonlinear mathematics, perhaps? I cannot trust you with that information, Lau, so are you refusing to transmit your files on doctrine flexibility? That's right. Make a trade, or stop wasting my time. Brother Lau, I must confess I am a bit strapped for cash. If you can spare me 120 credits, I can make generous payments of 2 credits per year for 100 years. I am not your personal moneylender, Chairman Yang. Brother Lau, your ideals are admirable if a bit misguided, and your faction need not pose a threat to Hive policy. Shall we sign a treaty of friendship to formalize our symbiotic relationship? We shall not. Have you any further business? I don't. I could tell them that to leave my territory at once. That creates a chance they might declare war. I think at this point I'd probably do okay, but I also just want the long conflict. Let's just try to keep expanding for the time being. Let's take one last chance to see if he'll trade text. I desire access to your research data. I see, and what do you offer in return? Some of my valuable data research, perhaps. Through cooperation, we can achieve mutual satisfaction of needs. Will you transmit your files on high energy chemistry in exchange for my information on nonlinear mathematics? We're back to square one. Out of the question, we're out.
Terraform complete. Turn complete. Production complete. Terraform complete. Turn complete. Turn complete.
There are two kinds of scientific progress. The methodical experimentation and categorization which gradually extend the boundaries of knowledge, and the revolutionary leap of genius which redefines and transcends those boundaries. Acknowledging our debt to the former, we yearn nonetheless for the latter. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, address to the faculty.
Another banger quote out of Prokhor Zakharov. For my money, probably the best quote guy in the game. Him and Yang, neck and neck probably. We now have nonlinear mathematics, which gives us particle impactors. That's level 4 offense, which means we are now at parity with Yang, and really hoping that with our better research capabilities and our larger bases, judging by the faction dominance, I'll be able to out-tech him relatively quickly. And then we get to the business of beating him about the head and shoulders. Okay, flavor text says, by using the power of information networks to speed calculations and encourage collaborations, researchers make giant strides in the field of nonlinear mathematics with significant military applications.
Terraform complete.
Okay, so I have some boring things to do in the unit workshop, so I figure right about here is a good place to stop, and we'll pick it up next time and try to get it going on with Yang. Or, hey, maybe we'll be peaceful and he'll allow us to build and slowly destroy him just by pure technological superiority. We shall see. In the meantime, don't come back.